Hey everyone, Brett here, back here for an update on the Lexus respray. Work on getting the guards ready for primer and paint. So this right hand guard, driver side guard, was damaged when when Zach bought the car, it had been in a small accident. So this has been repaired by a panel beater, as you can see. So it's up to me now to get rid of all these deeper scratches, block it down, make sure it's as straight as we want it to be, and then put some primer on it. Everything else this far has been pretty straightforward. It's just been a quick cut back, wet and wet primer, paint, and it's done. Plastic stuff. But this will require a bit more attention because it needs a bit more attention to get it to the level that I think Zach and I would like this car to be. So I'm gonna get stuck into making this thing straight. I know you and I are guilty of this. We don't give ourselves enough time.
I think it's more so you don't give yourselves enough, or we don't give ourselves enough time on the things that actually matter.
Yeah.
It's like the things that you think matter are one thing.
Yeah.
When I was selling cars, you sold cars too, so you kind of know what it's like. The expectation on you being in the showroom is extreme, because if you're not in the showroom, you're not selling, and you're there to sell. And like a lot of people will say, okay, well, yeah, you should dedicate yourself because you're running your own business within a business, blah, blah, blah. And that's 100% true. But when it becomes like, when you're not methodical enough with your time, or you're not committed enough to actually using your time properly or effectively, that's when it's a problem.
Yeah.
So, I found myself going in early, staying back late, working weekends, doing this, doing that, like if you got asked to do a public holiday, you do the public holiday, and you just, you wouldn't necessarily shun your family, but you would put the time aside to work over that.
Yeah.
And, that I believed I had the right intentions, which was I was committed to the cause. And I think if I was working in a business that rewarded that with like proper upwards mobility, then maybe it would have paid off, because you might have got to an executive type position that would pay you well enough that you would potentially move on, because that's the dream.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll keep working like this because eventually I'll get to like a general manager or a dealer principal or whatever, and I'll make myself X amount of $500,000 a year, blah, 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 and then I'll be able to do all this shit.
Yeah, then. But key word there.
I was speaking to a guy I used to work with yesterday, and a mate of his died, they went to school together. And he died like last week. And I went, what happened to that guy? And he said, yeah, he was out doing sidecar racing somewhere. I don't know if the bike rolled or what happened, but he basically ended up out of the sidecar on the track, and another guy rode over the top of him, broke his neck.
Jesus.
So he was in a coma, he went to hospital, never woke up.
Crazy.
Obviously that guy, when he went to that event, didn't think he wasn't going to come home from that.
No, really accepting your mortality.
And that's the reality of it. Everyone has mortality. Everyone's attached to mortality. Like, we are all here for a certain period of time, and it's not set in stone either. Everyone's of the opinion that, when I get to this point, I'll be able to do this. When I retire, whatever it is. It's like, I'll be alive for 80, 100 years, whatever it is, I'll have plenty of time to do that. You might not be.
No.
If you told that guy in the morning, you're going to have one more day on earth, would he have gone to that race, or would he have spent it with his family?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the reality is, it's like, I heard the analogy by Ed Milet the other day, which is talking about doing just one more. If your parents are still alive, what would you do if you only had one more time you could speak to them? If your kids were alive and you only had one more chance to spend a day with them, what would you do? That comes back to like following your passion and living your life the way you want to live it, because it's like, if you approach it with that just one more mentality, it's like, well, it's like totally different.
You're totally different.
Ed makes the correlation to his father, because his father was like a reformed alcoholic.
Yeah.
And he's like, you ever going to drink again? And like, apparently it's really bad.
Yeah.
Very violent.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ever going to drink again, but I'm not going to drink for one more day. And then he would just keep saying that every day. One more day, one more day, one more day. And this guy turned his life around.
Yeah.
He became an advocate for people getting off booze, and he then would make it his mission to get as many people as he could into sobriety as possible.
Yeah.
So like, even to the point that he said on the day that he died, people were still ringing him like reaching out looking for someone to help them.
Help them.
And he could hardly speak.
Yeah.
And he's like, just one more day, you got this. Like, that's insane.
That is awesome.
He broke down the date of all of these random people on little post-it notes and had them on his dressing table. And it was the date that they got sober.
Yeah.
And every year he would ring them on that date like it's their birthday.
Yeah.
And celebrate with them another year of sobriety.
That's awesome.
Like, there's a guy that's literally defined his purpose at 35 years old, because the first 35 years was totally different.
Yeah, I agree. It is. There's a lot to be said in 1%. If you can be 1% better every day, that all adds up.
Yeah, and it's that small incremental steps forward.
Yeah, if you can do 1%, if you can do one thing better today that you can consistently do for 12 months, even if you measure it as 1%, well, that's 365% in a year. After 3 years, you won't even recognise it.